When you learn English, do you feel like your head is going to explode? If so, you are not alone. In this article, I will discuss 5 reasons why English is so difficult to learn. Then I will offer advice on how to deal with the difficulty of learning English. Let's get into it.
Reason 1. Complicated grammar rules.
If you have ever studied English grammar, you will know how confusing it is. There are a lot of rules to remember. For example, you have to memorize many irregular verbs like these. You also have to study English tenses, which are impossible to master because their usage is so confusing. For example, the present continuous tense has various usages. We can use it to talk about something that is happening at the time of speaking, like I'm writing an article. We can use it to talk about an activity that is going on unfinished or incomplete, like I'm learning to play the guitar.
Or we can use it to talk about future plans. I'm visiting my parents on Saturday. That's not all. You also have to learn other difficult topics like prepositions on, in, at, of, confusing sentence structures, I saw him do something versus I saw him doing something, and much more, right? To top it off, even after a lot of studying, most English students still cannot speak English well. Even though they know most grammar rules, this is because when they are speaking English, they have to form sentences quickly. There is no time to think about those rules. Reason 2. You are not a baby anymore.
When it comes to language learning, babies have a couple of advantages over adults. First of all, their hearing is amazing. Yes, their hearing is amazing. They can easily hear the difference between two very similar sounds in any language. But as they get older, they start to lose the ability to hear sounds that are not present in their native language. For instance, a 6-month-old Japanese baby can hear the difference between the R and L sounds of the English language, although the two sounds aren't present in Japanese.
But at 1 year old, that same baby can no longer hear the difference. This is why many Japanese people cannot differentiate between words like rock and lock. To them, they sound the same. Personally, I have trouble hearing the difference between the CH and SH sounds. My native language has only one sound that's similar to these two, so it's hard for me to differentiate between words like chair and share. They kind of sound the same to me, but to a baby or native English speaker's ears, the difference is as clear as night and day. Reason 3. Language interference.
Language interference is when the knowledge of your native language causes you to use English incorrectly. An obvious example is when you speak English with a foreign accent because your native language influences your pronunciation of English. Unfortunately, your first language not only affects your accent but also your English grammar. For instance, the German noun information can also be used in the plural form informationen. So some German students use informations in English too, which is incorrect. Here's another example. As a Thai person, I find English preposition at, in, on to be particularly difficult. The Thai language has preposition too, but we use them differently.
In Thai, there are no perfect counterparts for at, in, and on. So now when I use the English preposition, I sometimes accidentally apply the rules of the Thai language, which leads to grammatical mistakes. Of course, children don't have this problem because they have no pre-existing knowledge of any language. It's no wonder why learning English as a second language is so hard. Reason 4. Ineffective learning methods.
If you are like me, you probably started learning English in school or in a college. In school, you probably sat in class listening to the teacher or memorizing some grammar rules. Or if you're learning English by yourself, you might be spending a lot of time passively watching English lessons on YouTube. Sadly, this is not an effective way to learn English at all. It is completely different from the way you learned your first language.
I'm speaking from personal experience here. I used to study grammar in school and college. Always got the best grades, but after graduating and getting a job at an international company where I had to communicate in English with my foreign coworkers, I realized that my spoken English was pretty bad. Have you studied grammar a lot? Have you watched many English lessons on YouTube? If so, are you able to speak English well? If not, it means what you have been doing isn't working. When you use ineffective learning methods, it's going to be difficult or even impossible to improve your English. Reason 5. No speaking partner.
My dear friends, if you want to improve your listening, reading, or even writing skills in English, that's quite manageable. You can learn and practice these skills by yourself at home. But what if you want to improve your spoken English? This is when things get complicated. To improve your English speaking skills, you need a practice partner, someone you can speak English with. The person should be able to speak English quite well.
For many people, it's hard to find someone like that. Perhaps they don't live in a native or English speaking country. Or maybe they do, but their lifestyle doesn't allow them to communicate in English much. If this is you as well, it's going to be hard to learn to speak good English. What should you do?
Okay, enough about the problems. What about the solutions? How can we make it easier to learn English? Let me offer some English learning tips for you. Let me ask you a question. What is your native language? Whatever your native language is, I'm pretty sure that it has a lot of confusing rules and exceptions just like English, right? Despite how complicated your language is, you become fluent in it without studying grammar rules. How was that even possible? It was possible because you learned the language the proper way by listening and speaking, right? So guys, if you want your English to be good, you must learn English in a way that is similar to how you learned your first language. First, you must listen and read English materials that interest you.
When you listen to or read something in English, you get to see many examples of how the language is used. This is the proper way to learn any language. Don't worry about English grammar. Your brain has the ability to learn grammar automatically by simply being exposed to English. When you listen to the English conversation, your brain is actually learning English grammar actually behind the scenes. You don't need to waste time studying grammar at all unless you want to improve your writing skills. Learn to practice English speaking alone.
Do you want to improve your English speaking skills? These are active skills, which means they require active practice. Listening and reading alone will not make your speaking English well. You need to practice speaking. If you don't have a speaking partner, no worries. These are ways to practice speaking English by yourself.
You will love this guide because most of the speaking exercises in it can be done alone. Self-practice is how I improved my spoken English since I couldn't afford to live abroad. Also, it was too time-consuming for me to take in-person English speaking classes. The traffic in my city is pretty bad. So I chose to practice speaking English by myself at home instead, using the exercises I shared in that guide. Put in the time.
English fluency is like any other skill. The more time you spend learning and practicing, the better you get. And since English is complicated, it requires a huge time investment. Even if you use the right methods, you will not get result unless you dedicate a lot of time to it. So if you have been learning English the right way for a while but still feel like your English hasn't improved much, it simply means you have not put enough time. The solution is simple. Spend more time learning and practicing. The more time you spend, the easier English will be for you. There is no way around it.
Did you become fluent in your native language quickly and easily? The answer is a big no. When you were a child, you practiced the language with your parents and relatives. Every day you were bombarded with massive input. But even in that perfect environment, it still took you many years to master the language, right? Please keep that in mind when trying to improve your English.
Thanks for watching this video. I hope you find this video useful. As an English student and teacher myself, I also think the English language is very hard to learn sometimes. But there is nothing to fear. If you have the proper learning strategies and techniques, the right mindset, and a lot of practice, you can certainly improve your English.